You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 182.
So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us.
Hello, my beautiful friend. Welcome back to another episode of the So Now What podcast. This week, we are talking about how your brain works after infertility. If you have ever wondered why you feel totally fine one moment and then a single pregnancy announcement or some comment sends you spiraling, this episode is for you. This week, I'm going to talk to you about why your brain is wired to keep you safe, how that wiring can actually work in reverse, how it can keep you feeling stuck after fertility treatments fail. And I'm going to offer you 3 simple practices that will help you feel more steady, more present, and more in charge of your infertility story. How does that sound? First, I have 2 important announcements I want to share with you. World Childless Week is coming up in just a few weeks, and I am honored to be leading a panel during World Childless this week. It's happening on September 20th at 2 p.m. British time, which I believe is 8 a.m. Central Time here in Chicago, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and the panel is all about rediscovering your identity as a childless woman. So this is going to be a really powerful conversation. I'm going to be joined in my panel by some of our very own listeners here of the podcast. We are going to be talking about what it is like to rewrite life to become full and meaningful without children. So each panelist has walked their own path to childlessness, some through autoimmune conditions, male factor infertility, singlehood, female factor infertility. So together, we are all going to share reflections on how to move from the identity of hopeful mother to confident woman living on your own terms. So it's a conversation that you are absolutely going to want to be part of. I will put a link to it in the show notes so you can register for World Childless Week. The whole week is free and full of beautiful conversations. If you are ready to feel proud of the woman you are with no disclaimers and no shame about not having children, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. And then my second quick announcement, I am doing another masterclass on the things people say when you are childless. I didn't do great as far as timing for people outside the US. And many of you told me you wanted to join, but it was midnight for you, middle of the night, you were fast asleep. So I am scheduling September 18th. It is going to be afternoon for me in Chicago, 11:30 a.m. And it is going to be 5:30, 6:30, sometime in that time range, depending on where you are in Europe or maybe somewhere else in the world. So make sure that you attend if you have ever frozen or shut down completely and replayed conversations in your head after someone made a comment about you not having children. Maybe they wanted to give you advice. Maybe they said something that seems really like a no-brainer to us, and you want to learn how to respond to their comments without unraveling, without feeling like you're going to blow up on them. If you couldn't make last month's call about this, join this month's live call of everything that you can take away for how to navigate the things people say when you're childless. Okay, so let's get into this week's episode. We are going to talk about how your brain works after infertility. Why sometimes it feels like your body and your mind react without your permission, like things are just on autopilot, and what you can do about it. What I want you to do is think of your brain as having 2 teams. There's the smoke alarm team and then the wise coach team. The smoke alarm team is fast and loud always scanning for danger. And the wise coach team is slower, more thoughtful, helps you make decisions and meaning. So when you live through years of hope followed by heartbreak, this smoke alarm in your brain gets hypersensitive. It sets off the sirens when the toast is burning in the toaster, as if the entire house is on fire. That is just how it was trained to respond. So even though you are not in physical danger, say when you see a coworker's baby bump or a honeymoon pregnancy announcement on social media, yet your brain interprets those things as threats. It thinks that it's protecting you from the pain you are going to feel. And maybe that means tightening your chest, flooding you with adrenaline, or making your mind absolutely just like freeze and go blank. Nothing went wrong with you. This is your brain doing its job. It's showing up for you the way that it thinks you need it to show up for you. And when I say your brain is doing what it thought it was supposed to do or showing up for you the way that it thinks it should, what does that mean? It means that when we became species on this earth, we lived with a lot less things available to us. We didn't have shelter. We didn't have barricades. We didn't have locks on doors. We didn't have cars. We didn't have animals in cages. So our brain saw something that was alarming to us. It saw something that was a personal threat to us. And the smoke alarm just kept going. So all these years later, our brain is just heightened to tell us, hey, this doesn't feel right. Hey, this is something that could potentially make you feel as though you are less than. Hey, this is a person who's giving you advice for something you've already thought of 8,000 times. So your brain is just doing what it thinks it's supposed to do to keep you safe. Okay. So when I talk about the brain doing what it thinks it's supposed to do, that is what I mean. One of the simplest ways to start working with your brain is this: name it. When you feel your body tense or thoughts start to race, pause and just quietly say to yourself, this is my brain trying to keep me safe. Then try to name the pattern. So if you feel defensive or snappy, that's fight. If you want to escape or avoid, that is flight. If your mind goes blank, that is freeze. If you start nodding or over-explaining or trying to please, that is fawn. The moment you name it, you create this like space between you and the reaction, and you're no longer on autopilot. And then you can start to get really familiar and recognize, oh, that is my brain sounding the alarm, but I still get to choose what happens next. It doesn't erase the discomfort, but it gives you back an option to feel as though you are in control. And that is the very first step on retraining your brain. Number 2, look for glimmers of safety. Your nervous system calms more through body signals than it does pep talks. So this is where glimmers come in. Have you ever heard talk about glimmers? They are tiny cues that remind your body we're safe right now. A glimmer might be sunlight on your face, warm water on your hands, a song that grounds you, or like me, my dog curled up beside me. Your brain learned fear through repetition. It will learn safety the same way. Every glimmer you practice is one rep of teaching your smoke alarm to settle down. So the next thing we can help our brain to do is to offer it bridge thoughts. Okay, have you heard about bridge thoughts before? What bridge thoughts are and why this is important is because after infertility, your brain likely carries stories like, my body failed me. I don't belong. I can't handle this. And if you try to leap to the opposite, like, I love my body, I am fine, your brain will reject it as fake. That is why all the time I talk about toxic positivity things. Like, I am totally not into toxic positivity because it is not believable. This is why I teach my coaching clients how to incorporate bridge thoughts. And a bridge thought is a believable step that feels closer to peace. For example, instead of "my body failed me," try "my body has been through a lot and I'm really learning to care for it." Instead of "I can't handle baby showers," try "I can make choices that honor my energy." Your brain doesn't need perfection. It needs believable things and thoughts it can practice. Once you stop seeing your body as the enemy and you start learning how to calm your brain, everything shifts. How you show up in your friendships, in your marriage, with your family, how you spend your time is going to change. So to recap what we talked about today, when things come up in your brain and the smoke alarm goes off, you are going to name it. You're going to name, where do I feel this in my body? What am I feeling? What's going on? 2, you're going to recognize that your brain is just trying to keep you safe. Then you're going to look for glimmers of safety. Things that are like, okay, when I am in this environment, when I am doing this thing, when I am listening to this type of music or this meditation, I feel safe. You are going to find those glimmers, identify what they are, search for them, and bring them into your life. And then 3rd, you are going to practice bridge thoughts. So I want you to know that your brain is not broken. It's doing what it knows, but you can teach it a new way. You can teach it something that increases steadiness, maybe brings in more peace, and gives you the freedom to build a life that feels like it is yours again. I hope you have a beautiful week. I love you, and remember that it's never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, real quick, I just want to tell you about an awesome resource I created. If you have ever found yourself in conversations with people, or maybe people offering you suggestions about what you should do to become a mom, it's called The Top 27 Things People Say When You're Childless and How to Respond. You can get your copy free at lanamanikowski.com/things people say.